All right, we're talking about Meta today. They have released a new open weights model, Muse Glimmer. It is a 30 billion parameter dense model that has been released under the Apache 2.0 license. So it's actually truly free, which is, I think, a shift in Meta's ideology on how they release these models going forward. I'm going to go ahead and talk about what it does, what it's good for, if you should really care, and whether new releases coming out will impact this model being relevant in the near future. So let's go ahead and take a look at the post here. Mark has gone ahead and posted this on X. I'll go ahead and read it here. Today we're also opening weights for Muse Glimmer, a great 30B parameter dense model that can run locally. So I think this is this headline here, that it can run locally. They also mentioned that they soon will be releasing weights for Muse Spark 1.2, which is their frontier foundational model. Meta is a strong supporter of open source and proud of these releases. Congrats to Alexandr Wang and the MSL team for all your great work on these models. So yeah, big kudos for them releasing a model open weights and allowing people to go ahead and do as they please with it. It is, I think, the right direction for Meta, as well as hopefully setting an example for Anthropic and OpenAI, which, I doubt, but at least we have one company heading in the right direction. For those that don't know, Alexandr Wang is the founder of Scale AI. He's also the founder of the Meta Superintelligence Lab, so this is who Mark was giving kudos to, and he is now the Chief AI Officer at Meta. But let's go ahead and jump into the post here. So this is on Meta AI's blog here. If we go down here, we notice that this is truly on Apache 2.0, even confirmed here on Hugging Face. They even encourage you to download it and tinker with it and train it as you need for whatever use case you have. Note that this is a multimodal model, which essentially means it can do text and images, and it's really tuned for agent work. So tool calls, long tasks, failure recovery, multi-step reasoning, things like that. They have a detailed list here of kind of some of its benefits. Obviously, we're dealing with the 30 billion parameter model. It competes directly with like Qwen and Gemma. It's around the same size, and there's some benchmarks on the site themselves. It's noted that this is not new, right? Having an AI model fit a single GPU is not new news, especially with the ability to kind of quantize down to lower values like 8 or 4. However, this is the latest model, so ideally it should be better than the previous model. And according to Meta and their own harnesses, Glimmer does beat out Gemma and Qwen in several benchmarkings. It's important to note that for the most part, they do showcase it not winning in some benchmarks, so it tends to hallucinate at a higher rate, like 82% compared to Gemma or Qwen. I think they're really tailoring this to like agentic workflows. They even kind of mention some of the use cases up here. So schedule, draft your messages, organize your file, and really like tool calling and understanding long context memory and following instructions. I think that's what it's tailored for, which is honestly a really good sweet spot for local AI models. You're not obviously going to use this to build the next groundbreaking app or even fix a very complicated workflow without some tuning and some understanding and some manipulation requirements. Very different than if you were to throw like an Opus or a ChatGPT Soul at a problem and it just kind of runs with these crazy large context windows. One thing to note is that this model itself, unquantized at full precision, needs 55 gigabytes of memory. Meta shipped it compressed to 4 bits, so it's under 20 gigabytes. And the big news here is that it fits a 24 gigabyte VRAM class, which is great. And honestly, it seems like the majority of the work they did was to fit it in that 24 gigabyte class. They really kind of stuck to that sweet spot and optimized for that. So yeah, the 55 gigabyte was kind of data center territory. The 20 gigabyte fits an RTX 3090 in theory. So the compression itself is the headline, right? The ability to run it on that size and it losing very little degradation is actually very impressive. So let's take a look at the model on artificialanalysis.ai. This is like a very well-known, reputable benchmarking website. If you look here at where it kind of fits on the artificial intelligence index, you'll see that it goes above Gemma 4.3 and Haiku, and it sits right between Gemini and Mistral, which is another very popular model as well. So it's number 37. And as we get better benchmarks and people start doing their optimization and their testing, I'm sure this will vary. This is very early news, and I'm not going to take this website at its word right now, or even obviously Meta's own benchmarks. Although it did kind of reference it losing in some areas. So like it's more honest than most, right? Like if you look at some of these open weight models from China, they are using their own harnesses, and all their graphs make it seems like they're the next opus killers, right? They're essentially maxed out on the graphs and maybe being humble in a few different areas. So yeah, this is more testing to come, just kind of giving you out the initial benchmarks. I thought it was very commendable for them actually pointing out that this is something that is optimized for like an OpenClaw or Hermes agent. Like they put that in the blog post, which is wild. So yeah, let's go ahead and take a look here. This is available right now on Ollama. You can download this locally, and as you can see, it's right about 19 gigabytes in order to kind of run this model. It is not optimized for every single architecture, so this is more to come on this. I did go ahead and install it locally and had it run. I did have to upgrade both Open WebUI as well as Ollama, and it does work. It is a little slower. I'm running on AMD Ryzen AI Max chip. There is no optimization currently for that, and I'm sure that will change very soon. However, this stuff, I asked it to write a long story, and it, took about 2 minutes to do. So not the fastest one, but it does work, and it's pretty crazy. We've gotten this far where you can run a single command, load up a model, spin up Open WebUI, and get a model working, in minutes, where before this stuff used to take hours. So yeah, can it run? Yeah. Is it optimized? Not quite yet. My honest take is that we are really waiting for these faster optimizations in order to see its full capability. Obviously, these other models like Qwen and Gemma are optimized. They are way more mature, and for most people currently running local AI, they'll probably stick to this more mature models until more work is done on Glimmer. Do note that this might be old news soon, right? Glimmer might just be swept under the rug because we have Qwen 3.8 coming out. It is a really anticipated model because of the popularity of 3.6, and I'm sure once that is released, we will be able to do kind of a direct comparison and see how good and how real and how serious Meta is taking their AI research. Because obviously this is not cheap to run. Like training a model and then releasing it publicly, it seems like a very trivial process, but we're talking about millions and billions of compute energy, resource, talent, all kind of roped in into getting this to work. Again, kudos to them for the Apache 2.1 release. That is very good. All right, so like my honest take is that it's good news. I want to do some more comparison testing. What I'm probably going to be doing in a future video is I'm going to take Muse Glimmer side by side with Gemma and Qwen 3.6 and have it do some very basic like HTML page creation, and then maybe throw in like the open weight model just for fun, like a Kimi K3 in there, and just see the vast difference between 30 billion parameters versus like a 3 trillion parameter model. Obviously, if we threw like an Opus there or one of those like frontier models, we would expect much higher quality work. However, like I said, most of my life I do operate with local AI models. All my file organization, management, drafting stuff, all that is done locally, and I do value that privacy more than I do performance in most cases, especially because a lot of the stuff day to day, does not require like frontier level $50 output from like Opus or something like that. A video to come tomorrow. Maybe we will see how we can do some comparisons, at least with what we currently have available without some optimizations. And maybe we'll dive into some more stories about the whole timeline between Meta and how they're involved in this whole AI race. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll catch you all tomorrow.